song always feels like, oh, this is a good opener. This is warm and comfortable. And you're like, oh, I gotta take a solo. Oh no. Oh no, I'm glad you. I don't think you did.
Shabbos. Shabbos. Good Shabbos. I need to breathe. I need to lean forward a little bit. All right. I'll do that. Ah, there we go. Ooh, all right. Shabbat Shalom. I'm Becky Nelson Zuhl. I'm a student rabbi. I work here at CRC. Oh, there's a little bit of an echo. The mic is working too hard for me. And with Rabbis Daniel and Karen and Randy all out of town, you get me this morning. Yay. Now, full disclosure, I do not sing. So we'll be relying heavily on our beautiful voices.
Not our first rodeo.
Leslie and Bryn. And the first thing we're going to do this morning is say, isn't it great that we are here, that we are alive? Let's turn to page 51 from Modani.
מודיעני לפניך, רוח חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך,
We are grateful. We start the day with gratitude for our life, for our soul, and we recognize that our soul itself is that little bit of the divine that's within each human being. That soul's a good soul, each and every one of us. And we give thanks for that as well. Elohai neshama shenatata bi torah hi.
אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי, שנתת בי טהורה היא.
And with that realization that each one of us contains a spark of the divine, a good soul, We also recognize our responsibilities towards each other. And we say how good it is to be here in this place, how good it is to be together. We'll go to pages 52 and 53. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is when we all sit together.
הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי, יללי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי, הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
It is so good to be together. It really is. So in the morning, after we start with gratitude, after we acknowledge that each one of us has this amazing spark of goodness and divinity, after we acknowledge our community and our responsibilities towards each other, then we go back to gratitude, full circle. And we say Birchot HaShachar, page 53. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzalmo. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has created me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani bat chorin. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayef koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher hechin mitzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Is anybody grateful for something right now that you want to share with the rest of us? Yes.
For a wonderful opening night and the greatest cast, crew, and creative team I could ever ask for.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. For what?
We're in the second week of counting the Omer.
Yes.
Switch from the energy of love to the energy of strength, of
Yes.
formation, of
Good.
conscious boundaries,
Yes.
purposeful boundaries, and we're in the day of Gevra. So we're like in a double that right now.
Strength within strength. Amen. Anybody else? Leslie. You. Oh, thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yes.
I just came back from a Seder with my kids and their fiancés in Austin, led by my son.
Ah, amen.
Amen.
And I want to say I am very grateful to be here with everybody today. You know, I usually watch the service from home on Shabbat mornings. I don't like getting up and driving around and leaving the house on Shabbat. I like sitting at home with croissants and stew in the crock pot. But it's so good to get out and be here sometimes. Most times, yes, everybody should come every morning. Don't be lazy like me. Amen. And in fact, it is so good, I think we kind of want to get up and dance around.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la,
It is our custom here at CRC to dance during Pesukei de Zimra. And it is lovely and it raises energy, but now we have to ground it. So we're going to turn to page 58 and chant the Reader's Kaddish, which is not the Mourner's Kaddish. It's just sort of a grounding exercise, saying, whew, here we are again. Yitgadal v'yitkadosh shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala, uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, La'olam ulol me'amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh, V'yithalal, Shmei dekudesha brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata nechemata damiran be'alma ve'imru amen. And now that we've had a chance to catch our breath, we'll rise and call each other to worship with the Baruch Hu on page 59.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la
The Shema is accompanied by blessings before and after. On page 60, we recognize how awesome creation is, starting with light. And I actually have never heard this melody before.
This is one that Billy Jonas taught us. Well, he wrote it for CRC. And
Yeah.
he performed it when we had him for our week of music, and he's been talking with Bryn about kind of cycling it in. So this is our first attempt to do it ourselves.
We're gonna try to cycle it in for
Fantastic.
Billy.
We're really
For
we need
Billy.
your help, though, guys. So.
To the light, straight to the light, fly to the light. To the light, straight to the light, fly to the light. Masechaya. Let's try that 2 more times. Marabu. Marabu. Masechaya. One more with feeling. Marabu. Masechaya. Shiny, 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 tantalizing treasure, precious as a flame to a moth. Teach me how to love the glow without diving for the diamonds in the lava flow. Everyone and everything will always go to the light. Here's to the light, fly to the light. To the light, straight to the light, fly to the light. Marabu, Masechaya. 2 more. Marabu, Masechaya. Marabu, Masechaya.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. How great are your works, Eternal One. The earth is filled with your creations. And we realize that there is a great love in the universe. Ahava Rabbah Havtanu. With a great love we are loved. On page 61. doesn't always feel like love. There are a lot of things that happen that sometimes make us feel like nobody sees us. But we realize that everything, yeah, even Mama, is part of the divine. And maybe especially Mama, exactly.
The divine mother of the universe.
The Shekhinah. You know, we always speak of the unity of God, the Shema, which we'll be saying in a moment. And I think we need to keep in mind everything. And there's a song that was popular in Israel a few years ago, The Honey and the Sting. Both the honey and the bee sting. They're all part of the same thing. They're all part of the same thing, and you can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other. It's all good. If you don't see, it's all good in the end, and if you don't see that it's good, it's not the end yet. That's right. And now, let's turn to page 64 and affirm this with the Shema. If it is your custom to stand, please stand if you're able. If it's your custom to sit, remain seated.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai
Please be seated. And we return the love with the words of the Va'ahavta. Page 65. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol modecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'ksartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Oh, and I hope you don't take the kids out. Have them stay. Come on back, if they will. Let's get a little bit of energy back. Micha Mocha, page 68. Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? You know who is like?
You should tell us.
Well, yes. Every single one of us is.
Then you should tell.
Absolutely. Every single one of us. Page 68.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף נורא תהילות אוסף שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים בשמך על שפתיי. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים בשמך על שפתיי. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. 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 צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות, שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Now we come to the heart of the service, the prayer, the silent prayer, which we start out, though, in community. Turn to page 70, and please rise if you are able. As you are able. And we'll start with Adonai Sfatai Tiftach.
Ananana sefatai titah. Ananana ufi aki tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai. Ananana sefatai tiftah. Ananana ufi aki Shafatai Tivta. Ananananana Ufiaki. Ufiaki Tegilatecha.
Oh, if you just open my lips, I will say praise and gratitude and how amazing our ancestors were and how amazing our life is now. Let's start on page 71 with Avot V'Imohot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah v'Elohei Rachel Elohei Bilha v'Elohei Zilpa Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imohot U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, Zilpah, all these great legendary ancestors. You are still our ruler, our helper, and our shield. Page 73. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechayeh kol ata rav lehoshia, morid hata. We have a new melody.
Mechayem eitim berachamim rabim, someh noflim v'rof v'cholim. Mechayem eitim berachamim rabim, someh noflim v'rof v'cholim. Yayrayrayon u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, lishenei afar. Yayrayrayon mi chamocha al gevurot u'midom elach, u'midom elach. Yayrayrayon melech beimit u'mechayeh u'matzliach Yeshua.
V'ne'eman atah la'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Blessed is the divine source of life. נקדש את שמך בעולם, page 74, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר. Yeah?
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושמך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
For those of us who've been standing a long time, and I know I put my back out earlier this week, so I've been standing a long time, let's all sit down for a little bit. But we'll continue with Vishamru on page 76.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Beni beni beni
You know, the great Hebrew poet Echad Ha'am, lived back in the 19th century, said that more than we have kept the Shabbat has kept us. I like that. I like that. It is so good to have one day a week where, yes, you can be lazy and sit around and just smell the stew in the crock pot. But it's also very good to get together. Let's turn to page 79. That's where it is. Thank you. And ask that the peace of Shabbat, the peace of this moment, be granted to us and to the entire world. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, the maker of peace. Let's take a moment for silent prayer, and we'll join up again in a few minutes on page 82. But for now, bless you. May the source of peace in the high places. Let peace descend upon us, on all Israel, on all the world. And let us say Amen. Amen.
Oh, say shalom b'rama. Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom b'rama. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel
Now we're in the mood to hear the Torah. Now, unfortunately, as I said, I put my back out earlier this week. Is there somebody here whose shoulders are feeling rather strong who can help me carry the Torah? Because I would rather not. Please. I don't want to take the chance. Shabbat shalom, yasher koach. Thank you. Please rise. We won't take the two, we'll take the one on the back on the left. Thanks. Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
We do this one for John, who's recovering. This one he would do with us, probably. Dr. Fuller.
all right. Thank you. You know what? Let's turn it around. Thank you very much. Yasher koach. Let's see. I did roll it to the right place. Yes, there it is. Now, before I read the Torah, I want to give sort of a, oh, please be seated. Thank you. I want to sort of disclose the content ahead of time because the part of the Parsha that I chose to read is actually one of the most disturbing parts of the Torah because it talks about the very senseless death of two of the priests, two of Aaron's sons, on the day when they were initiated into the kahuna, into the priesthood. See, after several parshas of details about how to build the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, it's finally been built. And after another parsha full of describing exactly what the high priest should wear, what the Kohen Gadol should wear, and exactly how the sacrifices should be offered, there's been a 7-day initiation process. Aaron has been made the first high priest. His 4 sons, the first Kohens, the first priests to offer the sacrifices. And on the 8th day, and the 8th day is rather important, on the 8th day, the first sacrifices are offered. And this sort of miraculous fire gushes forth from the tabernacle and burns them on the altar. And 2 of Aaron's sons are so excited about this, so full of fervor, that they take up incense pans with fire and incense on it, and they start swinging them around, and they get in front of the tabernacle, and that same fire that's been gushing out to burn up the sacrifices hits them and kills them. And Aaron, their father's response, very famously, is to be silent. Aaron is silent. And after I read, I want to talk about that silence. But before that, I want to say a little something about the 8th day, because 8 is really important in Judaism. You know, there's 7 days of creation. The 8th day is when we have to step in and do our part. There are 7 days of Pesach, and the 8th day is the Mamuna. It's when we celebrate. We step in and do our part, right? 7 days of Sukkot. The 8th day, Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah, is a holiday all by itself. It's this extra holiday. 8 days of Hanukkah. On the 8th day of life, a baby boy has his bris. All of these are things we're celebrating where we stepped in. God didn't just give the Jews their temple back in the war against the Greeks that Hanukkah celebrates. We stepped in. Children are not born already circumcised. We step in. The 8th day marks the day where human beings step in and take on the work of God on earth. I mean, isn't that kind of what Tikkun Olam is all about? We are making this world a better place. We are bringing the high and holy and goodness of the divine into the earth. And so you would think, that what Aaron's sons did was wonderful. And indeed, there's a lot of argument among our commentators that says exactly that. But we also know that bad things happen to good people all the time. And we know that we're living in a time where there's so much going on. You don't know what to be outraged about. First, exactly. Exactly. So I'm going to read this parsha, and let's talk just a little bit about Aaron's response. Thank you for reminding me. I have my own minhag, my own tradition of forgetting to say the bracha before I read from the Torah. Thank you.
Page 84.
Baruch et Adonai hamvoach, Baruch Adonai hamvoach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Amen. And if anybody would like to come close to the... Thank you. Thank you, thank you. There we go, guardrails. If anybody would like to come closer and see the Torah, you're invited. Hi. Thank you. ותצא אש מלפני אדוני, ותאכל על המזבח את העולה ואת החלבים, וירא כל העם ויראונו, ויפלו על פניהם. So that fire came out from God to the altar, and it burned all the sacrifices around the altar, and the people rejoiced, and they fell on their faces, which was a good thing. ויקחו בני אהרון נדב ואביהו איש מחתרתו, ויתנו בהן אש, וישימו עליה קטורת, ויקריבו לפני אדוני אש זרה אשר לא ציווה. And Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, took their incense pans and put on them fire and incense and offered this incense in front of the God with a strange fire that God had not, that's traditionally just really drawn out, had not told them to do. Sho tziva tam, v'tetzeh esh milifnei Adonai v'tochel otam v'yamutu lifnei Adonai. And a fire came out from God and destroyed them, and they died there in front of God. V'yomer Moshe el Aharon, hu asher diber Adonai lemor, b'korvi ekdosh, v'pnei chol ha'am ekabed. And Moses said to Aaron, this must be what the meaning of what God said when he said that those who come close to me I will sanctify, and all the people will be honored. V'yadom Aharon, and Aaron was silent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Amen. So I know usually we say Mishaberach before the the drosh, but I kind of want to go on with the drosh right now because this is so disturbing. And then we'll say Misha Berach afterwards. We are absolutely struck with bad news every day. The news cycle is moving so fast, and there's so many things to be upset about. You know, in the same day, President Trump is going to say something, and an Israeli official is going to say something, and Melania Trump is going to say something, right? And some musician that you've never heard of before, not one of ours, will say something ridiculous. And it's all there all the time, 24/7. You can't live like this outraged all the time. You can't live like this with the adrenaline flowing all the time. But that's the situation we're in. And I think here is where you have the wisdom of Aaron's silence. Because in the face of insanity, in the face of something that you cannot make any sense out of it, why is this happening? Why are we in this timeline? Sometimes you have to just be silent and ground yourself. Center yourself. Find your own peace of mind. And then make up your mind. What one thing are you going to work towards? Because maybe I can't do anything about the clown show in Washington. There's always a clown show in Washington. But maybe I can do something right here in my community. Maybe I can do something in my family. Maybe I can do something about myself. The thing to do the only thing we can do sometimes is to find that point of silence within ourselves that we can come back to, that we can live with. Because otherwise you just tear yourself up. I mean, who here has ever reached that overwhelming point? Were you? Yes. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? I want to invite all of us here, and everybody watching, to take a moment, just a short moment, and let's just breathe and think of nothing but your breath. As it goes in and out. You can count on your breath. You can count your breaths. Other things will come to mind. You can notice them, and you can let them pass. Let's just take a moment of silence. It's hard to just think of your breath. But you can let the music carry you back into reality gently. Two more breaths. Let's turn our attention now to those of us who need healing, to those of us for whom we cannot be silent, because we want them to have a refuah shlema, a healing of body and spirit. Today we're praying for Jean Kruchek and Jamie Bozif and Jonty McKinney, Carl Weiss and Debbie Montfort, Howard Grossman and Miles Gravier, Michael Alter, Gerald Perlman, Alex Prim, and God Krumholtz, Ari Krumholtz's brother. Esther Rivka Batavara, Paul Hershkowitz, Pauline Johnson, Brad Kafka, Julie Tapp, Mariette LeQuinn, Jan Barrier and Sherry Schild, Kathy Bishop, Jill Hollifield, Michal Batzachaya Varicha, Anna Navarro, Safira Batgadido Visara, Kalanit Chappelle, Maggie Bradford, Jordan Cronemer, Robert Shepard, Meredith Berkowitz, and a name that was just added this morning, Siri Kanoju. And Michael, do we have any names from the stream?
Yes, we're praying for Jamie.
For Jeannie. And for all those who we love. Does anybody want to add a name? Yes? For the Bursack family. Yes. One of those cases where you can't say anything. You just can't. Yeah. Our hearts go out. Our hearts go out to everyone dealing with illness and trauma, with the horrors of war, with the horrors of cancer, just with the horrors of life. And we wish them peace of mind, healing of spirit above all, and healing of body. Leslie, will you lead us in Misha Berach?
Page 86.
May the source of
think we'll wait to put the Torah away until after services, because we're already at 11:30. All right.
We need a hot tea.
Yep. So let me give you really quickly some announcements. After services today, the Grief Support Group meets in the library and online. It's hybrid. The funeral for Brian Bursack will be tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. right here, followed by Shiva, observed here. And the Community Yom HaShoah event will be tomorrow at B'nai Amunah at 3 o'clock, although they ask for security reasons that you arrive by 2:30 if you want to attend it. And after all that grief, we also have renewal. We are planting 18 trees with Seed St. Louis on April 15th. A new text study starts on April 14th. We have the Lay-Led Book Club on April 16th. Check out our events calendar online at our website. Plenty of great things going on. And by the way, my own personal thought about Nadav and Avihu, we know that the ancient world was a little bit more advanced than we give them credit for it. They didn't understand why things happened, but they had things that happened. Okay, cool. My shamus is moving through. So the priests of Egypt, sometimes called the magicians of Egypt that Moses came upon, they may have had a rudimentary understanding of electricity. There was something that was discovered, almost 80 years ago, called the Baghdad battery, a 2,000-year-old contraption found in Baghdad, a clay jar with an iron tube and a zinc tube in it, and signs of erosion from acid. This could have been used for electroplating. It could have been used to make sparks as part of a religious ritual. Whoever made it did not understand that putting two different kinds of metal in a non-reactive container with an acid is basically a battery. But they accidentally did. And it's kind of my thought that perhaps that's what this fire issuing out from the tent was. It was some sort of an electrical jolt that Nadav and Avihu just happened to get in the way of. We know that they weren't actually burned because 2 verses on, it says that they were carried out by their tunics. So their tunics didn't burn. There's something that, yeah. Isn't it strange? Yeah. And sometimes these awful things hit like a bolt out of the blue. Yeah? Exactly. But who knows? Who knows? The people at the time of the Torah was written didn't know. All we can do is send out as much energy, healing energy, as we can to the people who are suffering right now. So, Aleinu, and then Mourner's Kaddish. All right. Page 93. Take Gedula Liotzer Breishi, Shelo Asana Kagoye Aratzot, Velo Samanu Kamishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, Vanachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shemayim v'yosed aretz, Umoshe moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo, u'shchinatu zo, v'gov hei meromim. Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efes zulato, kakatu b'torato, yadata hayom, yadata hayom, v'hashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, bashamayim mima'al, ve'al haaretz, mitachat ein od. V'nemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, Shemo echad. On that day, we will know that everything is one. Please be seated. We remember those who are no longer on this earth with us. We remember Carl Barnes and Brian Bursack, who died within half an hour of each other just the day before yesterday. Members of this congregation, we know them well. Wally Mayer, Rosalie Rotenberg's husband, and Deacon Barbie Click, a longtime friend of CRC. In this past year, we've also lost Ron Sachs and Sarah Surkamp and Michael DePlacido, Miriam Raskin, Marilyn Weiss, Annette Harrison, Ron Fagerstrom, Pauline Gravier, Phyllis Kidder, Alan Turkin, John Joseph Palazzolo, Ava Cooper, Melissa Bennett, and Carol Portman, whose first yahrzeit will be this coming week. Joy Lieberman's daughter, Sharon Cohn, Barbara Morris, Warren Schaub, so many others. We are marking yahrzeits this coming week, of Charles Berger, Judith Dawson, Alfred Levin, William Littman and Alfred Ulrich, Teresa Brumley, Jenny Gravier, Arietta Cohn, Susan Carol Rose, Jack Yakovitz, Regina Barton, Fred Brown, Cecilia Chuver, Evelyn Orenstein, Dolores Silverberg, Rebecca Tamsky, Anne Lee Frank, Henry Gebler, John Kepler, who is a member of CRC, Larry Leafman, Ralph Rosen, Moisey Shopper, Alan Woolman, Rebecca Edgin, Sarah Goldman's brother, Tom Gilbert, Bonnie Hundman, Robert Miller, Gary Sewell, remember Gary, and Sidney Vygotsky, and others. If you are observing a yahrzeit this week, I invite you to stand and say the name of the person you're saying Kaddish for. Yes?
My mother-in-law,
Patricia Worthland, your mother-in-law?
and then her brother died a week earlier.
And Robert Johnson, your mother-in-law's brother. We remember them. Your Uncle Ben, Uncle Ben. Michael, are there names on the stream?
Yes, we're remembering Milton Berger.
Milton Berger. Let's stand in solidarity with our mourners and turn to page 96. Stand as you're able. You don't have to if your back's hurting you. Let's say the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chaye chon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach l'olam u'l'olmei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach, v'yit pa'ar, v'yit romam, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shmei d'chudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran ba'alma, v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bin Roma, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Amen, amen. And before we go, we give each other a closing blessing, and then I'll say Kiddush. But first, may God bless you and keep you safe.
May the divine mother of the universe shine her light upon you so that you may give it to others.
And may the Shekinah shine her face upon you. And may you know peace. And let us say, Amen.
And Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen.
Amen.
L'chaim, to life. Let's go out there and love each other and love this day. Nope, that's not bread. That's just my talit case. It's okay. We'll put the Torah away. Thank you very much for your help. I'll tie it first.